What in the world is going on with the Age of Disclosure documentary? Remember, this thing debuted at South by Southwest. Everybody was talking about it. It was going to be like the game-changing documentary. They had everybody and their mother inside of this thing when we had Ryan Graves on the show, whenever it was, 6-7 months ago. I can't remember at this point. And I asked him about that. He had talked about that. He was in it. And then they screened it, and everybody was raving about it. And there was just so much information that was supposed to come out of this thing. It was supposed to be kind of like the game changer. And really the first, even though it is the non-scripted, there's a lot of movies coming out, whether it's Spielberg's or the movie that David Grush is involved with Joseph Kosinski, the Colin Trevorrow movie. Hollywood's starting to take an interest in not just the fact of aliens and things of that nature. That's always been in the movies, but the age of disclosure, if you will. And this was kind of supposed to be the first thing to, I guess, ease us into those scripted ones and to see the kind of information that they're putting out there. But the question is, where is it? Where's it been? We haven't seen. I mean, remember when James Fox's latest documentary came out and they were talking about it, and there was a lot of talk about when he was going to start getting the word out there. And it was a little bit of a hiccup because he had some legal things he was figuring out, and then he did. And then it was a matter of just finding a home for it because he screened it a couple places. This is Dan Farah, who also producer on Ready Player One and other things, and again, worked with Spielberg. It's interesting that there's no news on this thing. Now, the other question is, are they timing it out? Meaning, are they waiting for Spielberg's movie to come out because of his relationship with Spielberg? They're like, let's get some interest on this thing, and then that'll also help kind of scratch the back of my film if we do it that way. The only problem is that this information moves so fast, and today's news becomes yesterday's news really, really, really fast. And meaning that it's just like, yeah, okay, sure, that's something that we've heard. We know that there's a thing buried somewhere, or someone touched this, or this person said that. There's been so many different things that have happened from the time that this thing is even screened, not much less shot. But as I've said before, when it came to the last James Fox documentary and other things, who is this meant for? Is this meant for the casual fan, or casual viewer rather, saying, hey, listen to all this stuff and look at all these military people that we've listened to, that we've heard time and time again. But the question is now, newer people who are hearing this, that if it gets greater exposure, if it does become a big Netflix doc or an Amazon doc or whatever, and not just one that you have to purchase, one that you actually, they're pushing out. But Rogan talked about this, and this is interesting. This is what he said about the documentary.
Age of Disclosure documentary. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
There's a documentary that they premiered at Sundance, or at South by Southwest rather, here, that was really good. And it is essentially just all these different people that worked on these programs spilling the beans. And they all have pretty similar stories. And the bottleneck seems to be that all this stuff was done without congressional approval, which is highly illegal. So all the research, all this hidden back engineering programs, all this stuff in conjunction also with military contractors. So those are the ones that build the jets and the rockets, and so you have to go to them to help with this stuff and to try to back engineer this stuff. So then there's this competitive advantage that they would have over other military contractors that don't get a crashed UFO. And so then people are getting sued, people are going to jail. There's a lot of money that was allocated for these things that was done through lies. And there's a lot of problems with that. And with this documentary is essentially calling for mass amnesty and saying, look, if this is real, and they think it is, this is a situation that is, forget about whatever laws we have in terms of finance. This is a much bigger deal. There is direct evidence of an actual life form that is not Homo sapiens, that can do things that we can't do, that visits us. And occasionally they lose a craft.
So he's seen this, obviously, and he's not a casual fan. Obviously, he has everybody and their mother on that's involved in this topic. He has been keeping up with it, and he's also been pretty clear, and I like the way he approaches it, where he doesn't get into this is 100%, this is what it is. He'll ask questions, and he'll say things along the lines of, well, wait a minute, don't you think there could be misinformation out there or this, but this story seems to line up with this story. And I think he takes it had a pretty good point of view. So him seeing this and feeling that it is something that is calling for the truth, I think whether or not you're casual or not, that it is important to start asking those questions if it does have the impact that we think it could. Now he's seen it, and he thinks he's been talking about it quite often, saying how powerful that this movie could be. But I just start to ask that question of like, do we ever think we're going to see this thing? Because like, where is it? There's no information out about it. It's not the same as like when there's a, because I do a second channel where I'm covering pop culture and news and movie news and things of that nature. And if there's a movie that's supposed to come out, for example, there's there's a Shrek movie that's coming out, and it got pushed to 2027. There's an announcement about it and a conversation about it. It's not really the same when it comes to this particular topic. It's like, hey, they're still trying to find someone who's going to distribute this thing. They're still where it's going to land. Are they re-editing things? Do they think like, hey, maybe that person is more credible? We have footage with that person. Let's use that. Is there somebody they find is less credible now that they want to take it out because of the things that have happened? Like I said, this stuff moves fast. So the stuff that they were going to release the stuff that they shot could have all been really, really relevant. So had they released it the day after they shot it, obviously they can't with editing and everything. But if they did, then it's like, oh, that's relevant to everything that everybody's talking about right now. It's over a year and a half ago. So now there's other things, there's new things, there's other questions being out there. And that is relevant to a story that we've been covering on this channel recently, which is, as Joe was talking about it here, you have all these people who are pretty much saying that there's a greater cover-up. There's people who have worked on this program. There are things that have done this. But these same people will not testify. Where you got that frustration from, say, Burleson when he was talking, the people who will not testify, people who have been firsthand witnesses, people who have worked on the programs, they will not testify. Now, we have our reasonings, at least I do, of why they won't do this. But it doesn't change the fact that they won't do it. So you can have people in front of the cameras, in front of the documentaries, and all these different things. But if they're not testifying when it's time, it's you get more of the same of the, well, we've heard from somebody who knows somebody that somebody did this. Oh, I can't tell you right now. I have to tell you behind a skiff. I can't tell you this and that. And that's no shots to anybody that's testified beforehand. Everything that they led up to got us to this point here today. But you can't repeat that stuff, and you can't do that. So if a movie like this comes out and has that kind of effect in the way that a David Grush interview had with Ross Coulthard on News Nation, then let's get this thing out there. Now, as I said beforehand, maybe it is one of those things where it's like, okay, listen, you have all these other movies coming out, and they all could scratch the backs of one another if you release them in the same area. Instead of releasing one now, and then a year or 6 months from now, the movie comes out, get people talking about the topic now, and then the tide elevates all ships, you know? So, what do you make of it? What do you think we're going to see, if anything, of age disclosure? Are we going to see anything at all? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. Thanks for being here on the channel. Please subscribe and try to get a few more videos out. Maybe one more today. I'm not sure, but definitely 1 or 2 tomorrow. There's so much to cover right now, a lot of different stories, and I'll make sure that I can get out the word and my opinion on it. So thanks for being here. As always, thanks, guys. See you soon.